All right, I think I'm live. Good morning, guys. Welcome. Top of the morning. It's a Tuesday. Um, let's see. Got a couple things today. Well, really mainly one thing. Fed Chair Powell speaks at 9 a.m. But yesterday was an interesting day. Um, didn't really do all that much at all, actually. But what's going on, Warner? What's going on, Xavier? Good to see you in the chat this morning. Let me know if the audio in the stream is working, so we can get this show on the road. Second. All right. God, don't know what's going on with me this morning. Awesome. Perfect. Great. Thank you, Werner. Euro, yeah, Euro's been doing all right. Probably if it, any euro that's not against the dollar, because otherwise, that thing's just been sitting there, going sideways for the last, I guess, solid month. But yeah, uh, AU descending wedge breakout on a 5-minute chart, 3-bar play at the breakout. All right. You know what? Since this is an untraditional stream anyway this morning, then we're just going to kind of hop into it. Let's take a look at AU. Um, I want to take a look at top-down analysis first, see what we're doing before I hop on to the 5-minute, because I don't want to just look at the 5-minute. I want to see where we're at in the overall move. Taking a look at the AU. Had a nice breakout close yesterday. Looking like we're breaking yesterday's low. We're heading back down into this range that we were previously in. Taking a look, hopping down to the 1 hour. Yeah, 1 hour is now back down below that breakout point. So sells look decent for AU. Honix, good morning, dude. Welcome back. Happy to have you. Sells on AU look decent this morning. I mean, a very clean range. And if we can get a Dixie reversal as well, that I'm surely will help AU. It's a short case here. So really, I mean, yeah, I mean that was a nice. I mean, even just through this wedge here this morning, around 5:56 a.m. Central. So around 7 a.m. Central, had a nice breakout this wedge, nice continuation down here, and you'll most likely get a continuation. I mean, if you look at like the 15-minute, once we can get through, let's say this area right here, it's just straight move down at 68,600. So AU shorts look nice. Would you say, what would you say is target price? I mean, it really depends on whether we can get a Dixie reversal or not, right? Because otherwise, what's going to fuel this move here, other than potentially CPI at 7:30 p.m. Later today? So, not really sure if it has some movement in it today, unless the dollar starts moving. If it does, I'd say the target price could easily be target price for the day could easily be around 68,347, right in this area right here. That is if the Dixie gets that reversal to the upside. Then AU could easily come down and to retest this resistance here, 68,350 area. So that's an area I keep an eye on, unless if the Dixie just kind of sits there like mud in the water. I don't know if we get much more out of it than where it's really already at. Because on range moves and moves where, well, AU really doesn't move much, the ATR here is just yeah, it's just probably already where it's at. So definitely has some room in it, but you'll have to track the dollar, see if anything happens in that. Speaking of the dollar, let's see what's going on. I entered at 68,920. All right, let me take a look. 68, 920. Oh, nice. Great entry. That was a good good position right there. I think you're in a very good price. I mean, let me get rid of some of this. I mean, 68, 850 is really, you probably wouldn't want to see it come back above that. It's pretty solid support and resistance, I guess neutral point here that we've seen. Nice drop below here, close below. So this is where you want to see it start falling over. So you're actually at a very good entry point here to where you're not really risking much anymore. So good job on that. But yeah, I mean, you could at least come down into this area most likely. Mo in the chat. Good morning, brother. Do you see a huge drop coming to market? I feel it might be coming soon. Let me take a look at equities. I haven't really gotten a chance to look at equities yet, so I'll tell you in 1 second what I'm thinking. Alrighty. Let's see. Yeah, so just looking at the weekly chart. Weekly chart's looking like it's ready to drop here. You had a nice drive to this 4100 high point, broke the highs, big rejection, closed bearish, and now we had a little bit of a bounce, creating a Fibonacci retracement on the weekly chart. That came in around 38.2, about 50% of this move here. So weekly chart looks like it wants to drop. Daily chart as well. I mean, kind of looks the same across the board, right? So you had this really strong consolidation that we've been in. And then yesterday you saw it try to push above, leave a big wick, close bearish back below that resistance point. And so now that's a fake out, liquidity grab, retracement, whatever you want to call it, to where sellers are stepping back in the market and this could start pushing back down. So I definitely see sells are a lot stronger of a play here than really anything else. I guess buys in that case here. So I would definitely be looking for sells, and I do think that you can get a decent drop. I mean, what I'd look for is, I mean, we are a decent drop in equities today, heading back down towards 38.20. I mean, keep in mind you have Powell out there speaking, and Powell's probably going to push the market down at 9 a.m. Eastern. So definitely, I definitely think that sells in the equities are in play. I'm shorting Euro USD. I was lucky to get it at, well, all right, let's take a look at Euro USD. 1.075. Oh, wow. You got like the top tick on that thing. Shit. Good stuff, dude. Yeah, I definitely think Euro USD shorts, excuse me, are a good play. Because, yeah, Xavier, watch the Dixie, because the Dixie looks like it could potentially have a reversal to the upside. Excuse me, sorry. We're now sitting in this 5-year zone here back from, you had 2020, I think it was 2016. We're back in that zone. We're creating these higher lows back from June of 2021. And so we're kind of pushing in this zone, broke below that support from this from this consolidation period. So I think it's about time where we see something similar to the equities, where we push back above and do something like this. So I would definitely be watching the Dixie to see if we can get that continuation up today for your Euro shorts and for your AUD USD shorts. So how does Dixie respond to higher inflation? All right, let me give you the typical way it responds. If you have high inflation, gold is the inflation hedge. So gold goes up, the Dixie goes down, because gold and the Dixie are both safe haven plays where, it's if there's uncertainty in the market, high inflation, you want to park your money in either, cash, the dollar, or you want to park it in gold. And so if there's high inflation, you want to choose gold, right? Because you can't print gold. You can't just make gold. You can print money, you can print dollars, but you can't print gold. So that's why gold's a safe haven in high inflation, because it's a steady asset. So typically with high inflation, the Dixie drops. But what you've been seeing, I'm sorry, excuse me. Listen to what you've been seeing lately, and I'm about to show you why it's just been a little changed this go around here. So back from 2021, right? COVID era, we had this big rally in Dixie for a couple of reasons, right? And you're like, well, hang on. We had very high inflation, very heavy inflation. You just said that the Dixie goes down in high inflation. Yes, but you also got to remember there's a couple things to it. A, how consumers interpret inflation. B, how the Fed fights inflation. And C, what's the outlook on all the other countries and currencies like, right? Because that's what really matters against the Dixie, right? There's three things. And so the way that consumers were interpreting this high inflation was the Fed was coming out and saying, hey, we're fighting inflation. We're going to cut, we're going to raise rates, right? And raising rates is going to be good for the dollar, bad for gold. And, but the thing is consumers believe that, okay, by cutting or by raising rates, you're fighting inflation. And so inflation should come down. And so it's almost like investors had a very far-looking bias, or I guess sentiment in the market, to where, okay, the Fed's got inflation under control, so we're going to buy the dollar with these rate hikes, right? And so you also had the dollar, I guess the U.S. outperforming all the other countries as far as inflation and monetary policy goes. So it's a lot more than just thinking, how does Dixie respond to higher inflation? Because on the surface level, the Dixie is weak against inflation. There's a lot of other moving factors you have to look at. It's like consumer sentiment. What do consumers believe? You have to look at, how is the Fed responding to the inflation? Are they actively trying to fight inflation? How are other countries responding to inflation, right? So you have to look at all these other factors involving that. But typically, the Dixie's weak against inflation. Hope that made sense. If not, ask questions away. But yeah, the Dixie here, looking for a rally up, hopefully, because we're in that area where we have to hold. If we start breaking these levels at like 102.8, yeah, well, Dixie's in trouble at that point. So you're going short Euro USD? I'm not. Werner is. Yeah, I am not. I'm not really. I think it's a decent play, but I'm not really much of a Euro trader myself. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty simple, right? How pairs respond respond to each other. So if when you're trading Forex, you got to understand, I guess, the politics, the economy in the countries that you're trading, right? And so if I'm trading the US dollar and the Japanese yen, and I got to understand what's going on what's going on in Japan, what's going on in the US, right? Well, Japan, when we were at high inflation, they're not raising rates. It's not good for their economy because they're a heavy, heavy export country, right? They don't want to mess with their currency. So they weren't raising rates. And you got to think as an investor, right? Because Forex is one of the big, factors about the currency is foreign investments. And think, if I want to make more of my money, right? If I want to make more of my money, I'm going to buy the currency that has the best potential, right? So here's what I mean. You have a currency, right? And you have high rates, low inflation. Great. That's the best case scenario for a foreign investor, is buying a currency that has high rates, low inflation, because you make more. If you buy a currency that has low rates and high inflation, you're not making any money on it, right? Because all your money that you're investing, well, you're not getting paid out much because the rates are low, but inflation's sucking all the equity out. And so that's something you have to think about as foreign investments. Well, the yen, they had rates steady at zero or negative, whatever it was. The dollar, or I guess the US, they're constantly raising rates. So it's just, and then inflation was, pretty steady across the board there. So the dollar was a much, I guess, attractive investment to foreign banks, foreign businesses, countries. So you have to think like, okay, well, if that's the case, the dollar's going to be strong, Japan's going to be weak. So if I'm trading USD JPY, I'm gonna buy the shit out of it, which is why you saw just insane moves on USD JPY in this run here, back from even just lately, because of the Bank of Japan monetary policy. And then they come out saying, okay, we're going to switch up our monetary policy, something we haven't done in like 20 years or whatever it was. And now that's why you saw this pullback here, right? So you just gotta just pay attention to politics, the economy in certain countries that you're looking to trade. I try to keep up with all of them just to be knowledgeable and all, up to date on all of them, in case I decide to trade one day. I know what's going on. But all right, let me continue on my analysis this morning real quick so I can find some trades myself, because I don't even know what's going on out there at the moment. These are some great questions, though. Some great questions. Looking at gold. Gold is now sitting right at these highs. All right, sitting right below these highs. Nice rejection wick from yesterday, closed pretty weak. Now today we're kind of sitting inside yesterday's range. Really just ugly consolidation pattern here that we've seen since yesterday, and then this morning it's not moving at all either. It seems like it wants to start rolling over, but I don't really want to mess with it in this range, because if you know how gold trades, gold could literally sit in this range for as long as it wants. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look for something like this. I'm going to wait for a break below this consolidation, a retest on the backside. Then I'll look for shorts there for a continuation back down. That's the only play I really see for gold, because it's just typically I'll look for an anticipation trade where I'll shorten here at the highs, then I'll add when I do the backside and stuff. But I'm not even going to bother shorting in this consolidation because it's so choppy, that it could easily just continue up and just chop me out. So going to wait on gold. Might not get a play out of it today. Oil. Creating this nice higher low here. Yes. And there's one of the companies doesn't let you trade metals. It's either Forex.com or Oanda. I'm not sure if it's. Oh yes, you can. You can. It lets you trade gold. It's XAU USD if you're looking for it. Right here. XAU USD. Yeah, and you can trade oil as well. So oil, it should be US oil or US crude. WTI crude. So it's different for every broker. Higher lows here. I like yesterday's price action. Closed around 50% of the range, left a nice upper wick. Today, we created a lower wick to retest this support and potentially pushing bullish to fill yesterday's move and potentially going higher. So looking at intraday charts here, ideally, ideally, I see some type of retest towards the VWAP to buy. Right now, it's sitting at the open of today and the close of yesterday, which is also sitting right at the point of control for the morning session here. So it's strong support here, but I'd rather look for a retest of this breakout here. So draw an ugly line. This breakout here, which is sitting right around VWAP as well. So I want to see something like this. Being a little picky this morning. I guess being picky this week, just because it's still a lighter volume week, still the new year. So don't want to be too eager to place trades right now. So I'm going to just wait for my setup here. And so around 74.57, I'll look for buys and I'll look for it to break, then rally through highs back towards the highs of yesterday. Fill that wick. Equity shorts. Equity shorts look really, really nice. We have this really strong area of contention that we're now breaking below. I love that drawing I just made. That we're now breaking below. We broke through and closed through on Friday. And then yesterday we tried breaking higher, left a big rejection wave, closed bearish, and now we're pushing back below this support level, looking for the continuation down. How do you volume profile and chart? This is a custom made one that I got from one of my trading buddies in Discord. But if you go to indicators and type in volume profile, session volume profile is one that you could use as well. It's going to be a little different than mine, but it works well. But yeah, so definitely looking for equity shorts today, assuming we can stay below this breakout range here, which is going to end up being right around yeah, right around these highs where we see all of this exhaustion here. Lower high exhaustion, point of control of the session of the morning session sitting at 33,470. So if I can see like a retest of 33,430, why does that have to be such a long number? And then I'll look for like a backside retest for a short and then fill some of this move from Friday, massive move. So definitely going to look for equity shorts this morning. Not going to touch gold in a nasty range. Oil, looking for longs, and then we'll look at pound yen real quick. Good morning, Nick. How's it going, dude? Good to see you. Pound yen. Let's take a look at the daily. Let's see what we got going on. Yesterday closed bullish above this support. I guess it's now support. It was resistance. Today came down, retested that resistance, and which is now support. And so I'd like to see it flip bullish and start pushing up towards this daily daily volume profile, or this daily Onyx. Thanks for hopping in before work, dude. Appreciate it. Have a good rest of your day. Yeah, Nick. It is very choppy. Very, very, very choppy. Not a range that I'm trying to play. But yeah, so pound yen, I'd like to see longs. Taking a look at the last week of price action, sitting right in the area. It's just kind of sitting here consolidating. So I'd like to see a breakout from where it's at, because if it pushes any lower, if pound yen pushes below the low of the day, which is this retest of this breakout here at 160, pound yen's in for a pretty decent dip, like a pretty strong dip. So I'd like to see it hold here. I'd like to see it squeeze through these highs. I actually like the longs now. It isn't a nasty range, but this is a range where I'd like to potentially anticipate a move higher because of where we're sitting, because of the risk to reward, and we're getting a little tighter, squeezing into these highs as we're creating higher lows. I gotta pull my phone out real quick so I can pull up my MetaTrader. USD CAD. I'll look at that in 1 second. Fuse. Give me 1 second. Pound yen. Trade. All right. Cool. So taking an initial position on pound yen here. So can you explain the order of the pair, if it's in front of the back? If USD is the first pair, so it just really depends. The reason you got to look at what's in front, what's in back is like the way it's going to be affected by like news events, right? So if you're trading USD, let's look at it. Like if you're trading USD CAD, right? USD's first, Canadian dollar second. If it starts going up, that means that the US dollar strong and the Canadian dollar's weak, right? The first part of the pair is what's going to be influenced mostly as far as what the direction of the chart's going, right? So if the chart's going up, the US dollar should be strong, Canadian dollar should be weak. If the chart's going down, that means the US dollar's weak and the Canadian dollar is strong. It's an inverse, right? It's US dollar versus the Canadian dollar. So they're going to be inverse. So you got to think, okay, the chart's going up, so the US dollar is strong because it's first, right? So that's basically it. As you read the chart based off of what's first. Let's take a look. USD CAD looks nice on the breakout here. I'll actually like USD CAD long because I want to see a potential Dixie breakout. We're actually breaking out through these highs here. Just looking at the 15-minute. Let me look at like the higher time frame on the 4-hour. Yeah, this is nice, right? Because we had this exhaustion here. We're now squeezing above. It has a really clean range to fill, going back up towards 134,900 area. So I like USD CAD to the upside. Found some support right in this area, which is where we saw all of this exhaustion, and now we're breaking higher. Pretty strong move here. So if I were trading this, clearly I missed it. So I'd want to see some type of retest and then a breakout like this. So I'll long with some type of retest, but longs in this pair look nice today. So if US get good news in the folders, hypothetically look for longs in pairs starting with USD. Yeah, so either look for longs starting with USD or look for shorts where USD is the second currency, right? Because then it's like same thing. It's just it's an inverse. So if USD is first, then yes, look for longs. If USD is second, like GBP USD, then you would want to look for shorts on this one. But yeah, so pound yen looking for a nice squeeze through these highs here, sitting right at 16500 quarter point, sitting right above. Point of control sitting at 166.27. Yeah, long definitely look nice on this one. If you guys have any questions, pop them in the chat because this is just such a because this is such bad Wi-Fi and it's lagging. You know, I don't want to stay on here longer than I really need to. I'm just here to kind of give my analysis and help out this morning. So if you have any questions, pop them in the chat before I hop off. I'll give it a few minutes. I'm back in town. So here's what's going on. I'm back in town Thursday, but I don't stream Fridays. Saturday I fly to Florida. So I will be streaming Monday to Thursday next week in Tampa, but I will have a better setup, so it should be back to the normal target for GBP, JPY. I'm going to look for, so let's see. I think you can squeeze out of here nice. Price point, let me look at the higher time frame. So, I mean, at least, right? So you'll get at least the highs here, 161, 250, but ideally, I mean, it has a range to fill here. The average range here, add on backside retest as we squeeze through 167.50. I'll want to see a retest and then a move higher, so I'll look to add as my second position somewhere around there. So I'm gonna just kind of sit on my hands on this one. Oil's kind of hanging out. Equities, equities still rolling over here, looking a little weak, looking a little heavy, but still going to short on a retest. So Dixie's breaking through these highs here, which you're seeing in USD CAD as well. So could get the dollar to start moving higher. Which would be ideal for the pound yen longs, right? because if you have the dollar moving higher, you're going to see a weaker yen because the dollar and the yen are typically inverse. And so if you have a weaker yen, GBP against JPY, you'll see a stronger pound yen. So we'll see. Any more questions, ladies and gentlemen? All right, I think we're going to end it there then if we have no more questions. Starting next Monday, the streams will be back to how they are. I'll still be traveling in Tampa. I'll still be with my setup here, but it'll be a lot better because I'll have a really good internet. I don't have any internet here, and B I'll have another monitor. I'll have my full setup like the intro, the countdown, the music. It'll be all back and good to go. So next Monday will be back to normal, but bear with me the next 2 days as I kind of push through these streams here. But it's gonna be it. Thanks for hopping on, everybody. I appreciate it. And yeah, make sure you join the Discord if you haven't already. Have a good rest of your day. I will be in Discord. If you're in the Discord, I'll be posting my analysis in Discord, my updates on my trades for the day. So yeah, it's